Thank you very much, Ian. I'm a terrible swimmer, I'm sorry. Thank you to Ian for the introduction. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to the judges for bringing me here on such a fantastic shortlist. And thank you to my editor, Robin Robertson, for all his work on this book and the previous books. This is called The Note. I had in mind your captor at a hotel desk with an inverse view. No ocean vista, just bins and aircon viscera. Tongue out to concentrate, scissors and glue. A stack of newspapers to spell out where and when the cost of your release. Instead, when it came, the note was the start of a song, single and sustained. So I put it on repeat as I walked, drove, worked, ate, trying to tease out bird calls, timbre of passing cars, dialect of distant dogs to figure where they held you. When you walked in, you scared the life out of me. So that was a Ransom note from the start of Ransom. And this is a poem that comes shortly afterwards called Where, as in ransomware. If it helps, think of this malicious code as pondweed, torsion tuned to panic, holds you closer every time you kick. But will release you in the nick as long as all is paid, your lungs are yours again. Or think of caution, watchful, lamps kept lit, spring spent mending fences, eyes on winter, and the warning cry of freeze. Think of your data not as seized, but read and understood so deeply that your goods and ours are one, as trees beneath the forest floor tend to their weak, roots as vascular utopia. Our lock on you, no jail cell, but a curl of hair shut in a heart-shaped pendant. The poems in this book pulled me in all sorts of directions: kidnap and gangster movies, grief and loss. I'm not the first to say that the world feels like a volatile and vulnerable place right now. And in that light, these images of captivity and liberation kept coming back in the poems. There are 3 sequences in the book Ransom, including an elegy for my dad that I read for the shortlist films. But I'm going to read now a group of poems from a sequence called Van Regards, which takes some of its bearings from Olivier Messiaen's visionary modernist piano piece, Van Regards sur l'enfant Jésus. Excuse my French. Which roughly translates, like Wallace Stevens' Blackbirds, as 20 ways of looking at the infant Jesus. Messiaen began this music in Paris under Nazi occupation, and by the time he'd finished, the city was liberated. At the same time in Paris, filmmakers like Marcel Carné were at work in secret. In these poems, the incarnation story of occupation and deliverance, risk and hope, is played out on film sets in a city under curfew. This is called Rehearsal for the Day of Joy. The dancers are stretching, loosening in their dressing rooms, half made up in a mess of costume rails, water glasses topped with a dusting of rouge. Although it's still too soon to dance, look at the rush of guttered rain through grids to join the surge towards an open sea. See how the dry leaves catch in corners, petals of a burnt manifesto caught in a breeze between tenements. And after curfew, watch our flags lift in unison like unbowed heads to mock us, because the dance, though fugitive, is here and will not be held back. Already it breaks on the roofs of our mouths, and we can barely contain the taste. It is there in the off-key buskers, dog howls, click of the heels of those uniformed men who think they hold this city captive still, and soon must think again. First Communion of the Madonna. It is a closed set for privacy, a one-room apartment in some shabby faubourg. Single cameo light gives us a hunter's moon through the cracked window. 3 months gone, she gazes out and in. This scene demands rare intimacy. It is a closed set in geometry too, since it contains all its own boundaries. O interloper, O squatter, O kicker, O heel jabber, scrapper, O thief in the night, O occupying power, you seized me, now loose me, my lachrymæ, my alchemy. And as she speaks her lines, we hear bootsteps all over the city as snipers, apparatchiks, quislings, bankrupt officials, hitmen and hoods walk out with their hands in the air. This is called To Be Shot in the Small Hours. Man of sorrows on a stick-back chair, naked from the waist up, makeup wounded. Around him, a circle of track. The camera completes another slow loop. Reset. This shot could take all night until the circle is made perfect. Outside, you can feel the pull, resistance as the universe coils tight around this attic room, tows land masses and tides behind it. So a table slides towards a wall, a car drifts in towards the curb. And at the heart of it all, him, past caring about retakes, thorn-crowned, blind to the lens and gazing at us. Anachronistic siren in the distance, break. We stretch our legs, but he stays put, blood and tears still coming strong. He is too good, his method too extreme. We start to wonder if he cut himself for real to get the color right, to make it count. This is called Rehearsal for the Death Scene. I'll read this and then one more to finish. Rehearsal for the death scene. If trees could walk like men, beautiful boy God, I would bear you on my shoulders through this city, show you every boulevard and alley, every market stall and park. You would tower above the cavalcades and rallies, peer into penthouse suites and boardrooms, witness to so many acts of cruelty and love, safe among my needles. Then when you nod tired in the cold and thickening dark, I would stand on the riverbank as long, slow barges mutter by and sing you to sleep in my many tongues. The bat-high silvered songs of linden, plain, slow lullabies of quince and medlar from the gardens, long laments of empress, foxglove in the windless squares. I would carry you for years until you grow so heavy that they nail you up to keep you here. It is needless, because even if my back broke, I would never let you fall. And I'll finish with a song from early on in the book, a song. It's called Song for a Sign Walker, a poem from early on in the book. Thank you very much for listening. Life and love are all about water, or so says the top line of a placard hand-painted by a rough sleeper whose path I crossed twice in the same afternoon. There's a screed of text below, but no one reads beyond his opening salvo. He's trying to catch my eye, so I keep my head down, stare at my shoes, guided by flagstones, road markings, hunch. His line's not wrong, save by omission. I tell myself the last words of his sign will be unconditional love, not endless fire. When I look up, we're decades on, crazy fashions, carless roads, skyscrapers slim as lift shafts. But our faces are as was, mask and giveaway. Same cares and passions. Rivers have risen to meet us. Forgive me if I have misunderstood.